And we are recording. So this is the weekly team call for Team No Judgment. I'm really excited about tonight's topic because this is something that I have been trying for a while to put into practice, and I have noticed such big changes in my business and in my personal life when I've implemented this stuff on a regular basis. And so it's always good to see, like, if somebody recommends something and you try it out and then you're like, oh my gosh, and to see a measurable difference, and then like a really, a real difference in when you're doing it versus when you're not doing it. Makes it that much easier to try to follow. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the book, The Miracle Morning. Have you guys heard of that at all? Okay, so it's this guy named Brandon Burchard, and he wrote this book, The Miracle Morning, and it's basically about, when your morning starts off, when you have a good morning habit, it's a way of helping to ensure that you start every day off on the right foot so that your day just starts well and then goes smoothly from there. Because you know how it is on those mornings, you have those mornings sometimes where it's like you wake up late or something unexpected happens in the first hour or so that you're awake, and then the whole day is just like, oh my God, what else? And it's so frustrating because it feels like if the slightest thing is just thrown off, or you feel like rushed, or you feel like, have I forgotten something and stuff like that. And so it just kind of jacks up your whole day if you don't have your morning routine in order. And so the book really deals with that. And it's really pretty interesting. And so he's got The Miracle Morning. It's an actual book. There's a workbook that goes along with it. And then he also wrote The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers, which when I hit Diamond, my coach sent to me. And I didn't use it at first. I was like, oh, maybe I should, read the book or whatever. I don't need to do that. So, but I've been working through it. And then oddly enough, I was listening to this podcast. There's this thing on the podcast app, and it's called Optimal Living Daily. And first of all, I wish that I had been genius enough to come up with an idea like this. But the guy that does Optimal Living Daily, he basically just finds like inspirational and personal development blog posts and magazine articles and that sort of thing, and he reads them. He just reads them verbatim on his podcast. so I guess in a way it's helpful because all the work is done for you. You don't have to do the research. You can go to his podcast and find the subject that you want. But I'm like, dude, like, that's genius. He's making money off of that. So I'm a little jelly. But anyway, so I've been listening to him in the morning, and he had one this morning called the 7-Step $1 Billion Morning Routine. And the blog post was by a guy named Thomas Bilyeu, and he's one of the co-founders of Quest Nutrition. So you've heard about like Quest bars and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So basically this Thomas Bilyeu, he was, for all of his life, was like a chronic underachiever. Like, he said he was so lazy sometimes that he would just stay in bed for hours because he was too lazy to get up and get a sweatshirt if he was cold and stuff like that. And like, he's like, my mom loved me, but she decided early on in life that like I was not ever going to really do anything with my life. Like, it was, it was really bad. And so he started one day, he said he started working on going from a fixed to a growth mindset. And so basically he said what that involves is, don't worry so much about being right. Just focus on finding the answer faster than anybody else. And that's going to put you ahead of the game, because if all you're focused on is proving to everyone else that what you say and what you think is right, you're wasting valuable time in finding a solution that, somebody else is going to find quicker than you and put it out there. And then, like, dude with the podcast that reads all the blog posts. And I'm like, man, several years behind on that game. Dagnabbit. So this fixed to growth mindset, and that applies to a lot of different areas of our life, and especially when we're trying to, go on a health and fitness journey and build a business and stuff like that. So his 7 steps were very close to the 7 steps that I implement. And once I started doing them, like, even when I was working full time, I had started trying to do this. And now that I am working full time from home, I'm trying to keep in the same schedule. And I notice such a difference in how my day is going when this happens. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Hey. Now
Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, I don't know it's like everybody's faces froze really weird, so Zoom needs to get it together, whatever's going on. Okay, anyway, so step number 1 actually happens the night before. And step number 1 is to get enough sleep. I know that's really hard for all of us. The older I get, the worse of a sleeper I am. I don't know about you guys. All right, am I frozen again? What in the heck? Can you guys hear me?
Hear you. I was just laughing because your face was frozen with like you scratching your chin, and it looked funny.
Okay, I don't know what happened. My screen just disappeared. So anyway, sorry about that. All right, we're still recording. Okay, so step number 1 starts the night before, to get enough sleep. And I know that's really difficult. Like, I don't know about you guys, but the older I get, and I guess probably it has something to do with your stress level with adulting. But when you're not getting adequate sleep, everything declines, right? And it seems like everything is a bigger monster than what it actually is, because you're frustrated and you're tired, and then you make mountains out of molehills, and you can't help it because you're just, and there's actually scientific evidence that proves that your performance declines when you go without sleep. Like, your cognitive performance really dips when you're not getting enough sleep. So making sure that you get, and they say like 7 hours, but there are some people that can function on less than that and they're totally fine. I mean, 7 hours is ideal, they say, but like my husband needs like 10 to be a functional human being at least. And if it's any less than that, he's sort of grumpy. So, so knowing what your threshold is for like feeling that you're actually rested, and then making your patterns, your nighttime patterns fit that. So if you naturally wake up, like he said, the guy that was doing this Thomas Bailu, he naturally wakes up at 4:00 in the morning. That's just his time when his body says, hey, wake up for the day. So in order for him to get adequate sleep, he has to go to bed around between 8 and 9 o'clock at night. So he, kind of patterns his day around that, and around being like, all right, I have to schedule my time so that I'm done with all the things between 8 and 9 and I can go to bed and get the sleep. We're not all like that. I'm definitely not a 4 a.m. person. I don't know about you guys, but 5:15 was hard enough when I was working full-time in corporate. And I like the idea of early mornings, but it's, it's just hard to get up sometimes. So, I mean, like, you get more done, you get up and get your day started. But so just making sure that whatever time it is that you have to get up, that you get to bed the night before at an hour that's going to provide you that adequate rest. Because when you're well rested, not only does your brain function better, but your muscles function better, and your stress level is going to be a lot lower, and it just, it can cause high blood pressure. When you're not getting enough sleep, you get increased cortisol production, which is responsible for a lot of belly fat. So sleep is so important. That's why it's the number 1 thing on the list. All right, number 2, work out the body. Move your body every single day. It doesn't have to be like, a high intensity, super sweat fest 7 days a week, but get some sort of activity every day. And he recommends doing it first thing. So if you have the ability to get up and get your workout out of the way, makes a huge difference. It gives you a big energy boost first thing in the morning. It helps your metabolism get started, because you chug some water, get your workout in, and your body's like, oh, okay, I'm awake and I'm functioning and this is what I'm supposed to do. It gets it out of the way. So you don't have to, like, there were days that I knew it was going to be a long day at work. And if I had to think all day that, oh God, I've had to deal with these people and all this stuff all day long, and then I still have to go home and work out and take a shower and fix dinner and do my business work and do this and do that. It sucks, and you dread it all day, and then you either end up hating every minute of it just because you've not looked forward to it all day and you've had this negative mindset into it, or you skip it because you're like, I just have too many things. So getting that exercise in and getting it in early if possible, whether that's like waking up 30 minutes earlier, and you can like do that incrementally. Like, I've heard people say, set your alarm like 10 minutes earlier. and do that for a week, and then set it for 20 minutes earlier and then do that for a week until you work up to 30. So that way it's not all at once, because anytime you do cold turkey on something or you make a humongous jump, it's really hard to adjust, much more so than if you can do it incrementally and set yourself up for success. So another thing about exercising first thing in the morning and or moving your body every day, as long as you get the activity in. He recommends morning. I recommend it too if you can. But it develops a discipline that extends to other areas of your life. So a lot of times in life we have to do things that we don't want to, but they're, we should do them because they're good for us, because we have to, because they're required or whatever. So strengthening discipline equals you gain credibility by doing something that offers you no intrinsic pleasure. So, you work out, and like sometimes it sucks to work out and you don't want to do it. But then when it's over, you're like, yeah, that was awesome. I feel so much better. I feel so strong. I feel, just great. So even though going into it, it might have sucked and you didn't look forward to it and you felt like you weren't going to get anything out of it, once it's over with, you get that payoff, and it makes it that much easier to get in that routine, and you develop that discipline for all sorts of other things. Like, yeah, maybe this is going to suck for a while, but it's going to feel really great when it's over. So, all right. So number 3, exercise the mind. So your body is actually a reflection of your mind. And I hadn't really thought about it like that until he said that today. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's right. Because when I look my best is when I feel my best on the inside. And that's because I have stuck to a routine. I have gotten my workout in. I have eaten well. I have done all the things that make me not only physically strong, but mentally strong. So reading my personal development every day, drinking my shake every day, getting my workout in every day, getting all my containers in and making sure that I'm fueling my body with the right stuff. Not only does that manifest on the outside, but then I can mentally tick off those things that I know I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, yes, winning at something in life, because, sometimes it's just, you have to celebrate the tiny victories to get, to really feel like you're achieving, and that's okay. And so exercising your mind, developing that mental strength, is going to help you in all of those other areas. He suggests meditation, which I was kind of on the fence about for a long time. It seemed kind of like a really woo-woo sort of thing. And I don't know about you guys, but I know my mind goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour all the time. And so the thought of sitting for like 30 minutes and not thinking about anything, I was like, no, that's never going to happen, But I found that there are some podcasts, like there's a podcast. If you guys have iPhones, on the podcast app, there's all kinds of things. So there's one called Meditation Minis, and they're like, some of them are only like 5 minutes. So it's even just a matter of finding 5 minutes to sit quietly, and you don't have to necessarily like, all right, don't think about anything, but just being able to calmly sit and, think through a problem, or focus on your breathing, or just giving yourself those 5 minutes of not letting the outside world crowd in and tell you what to do and have noise, makes a huge difference. And then as you practice it, you can work up to longer time. So this guy suggested he meditates depending on his stress level. So if he's at a super high stress point in his life, he tries to go a little bit longer. If he's having a pretty good time, then, he can maybe do 5 or 10 minutes, and it makes a big difference. And so meditation puts your brain into what's called an alpha wave state. So your brain's like relaxed, and it's more open and elastic, sort of. So number 4 is, he says, thinkitate. So you've done exercising the body, exercising the mind, and now you're exercising these alpha wave muscles. So while you're still in an alpha wave state, that's when he says you should like pick one thing that is like the biggest challenge to you that you're facing right now, or a big challenge, because some of us have a lot of things going on. And while you're still in that alpha wave state of, relaxation and more openness and calmness, you can more easily focus on the problem, and then your brain naturally makes connections that will help you to deal with those problems, to, figure out solutions, or, calm some of the excitement and other emotions around all of it. So using that alpha wave state and that is seriously, I was a total hater on meditation for a long time, and I'm totally not doing that. But some of my best ideas have come when I've done that. So I had, for example, yesterday, I had done my 5 minutes, because I was that's all I can do, because I'm getting ready for Summit and I have too much stuff to do. So 5 minutes of just sitting really still. And I did one of those meditation mini podcasts. And then I went and got in the shower, and I had 10 ideas right off the bat. I had to actually get out of the shower and get my phone and type notes on my phone, because I was super, super inspired. And I'm I have, an idea for some live videos that I can do. And, here's some different challenge group ideas. And it was it just hit me all at once, because I was in that relaxed state and not focusing on, oh my God, I have to pack. And oh my God, I have to do this for the dog. And I have to remember this, and I have to do that, So highly, highly recommend trying at least for 5 minutes to give that to yourself, just to when it's quiet. And if you can do it in the morning, even better. Okay, number 5. And this one is a Beachbody related one too. The 4 vitals: read every day. So one of the 4 vitals for our business, Beachbody recommends reading personal development, right? And I will freely admit that at first I was a personal development hater too. Not a hater, but I was I'm not doing that. I don't need any self-help books. These people are crazy. And I am not one of those the universe kind of no. So I avoided it for, the first couple of months of my business. My coach would be what personal development are you reading? And I'm same one I was reading 2 months ago, because I don't like it, but it was a matter of finding something that interested me and that sort of lit my fire. And then once you do, you're going to get so many ideas. So ideas in equals ideas out. The more that you read, and whether it's personal development, which I highly recommend every day, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's listening to a podcast, some sort of personal development every day, but then also reading for pleasure too. And even if it's just for a few minutes. And he recommends, because we already have so many things going on, but he calls them the transitional moments. And so if you have a Kindle app on your phone or something like that, that's easy to carry around with you, he's while you're cooking dinner, or while you're getting dressed or brushing your teeth or whatever, you can read a little bit, just little moments here and there that add up to a lot of time during the day. But instead of scrolling the Facebook news feed, take a second and read, 3 pages of your personal development book or whatever. And so it'll foster a lot of ideas, because you're getting all this inspiration in little tiny doses. And as we know, the compound effect, small things every single day add up to really big things over time. So reading every day, however you can fit it in. I try to read first thing when I get up. I walk the dog, bring him back in, fix my coffee, and pull out my personal development book. And I read it while, either while the coffee's brewing, or if I do just a Keurig cup, then I read it while the dog is eating his breakfast. And, so it's a really good way to start the day, because you start the day with that strong mindset, with, a dose of inspiration and strength and encouragement. And it'll make such a difference in your whole day. All right, number 6, and this goes for business and for life: create a most important things list. So for business, kind of making a list of what your business needs to thrive, which obviously are the 4 vitals. But also, any extra things that you feel like you need to come up with, and what you're focusing on. So if you're focusing on team building, then, what are the activities that I need to do to get a coach op call in order? Going ahead and scheduling that coach op call, and getting your graphics ready and that sort of thing, making a list. And I feel like the more detailed, the better. So if you're saying, I need to schedule a coach op call, and I need to plan a social media post for the next 2 days and stuff that's fine. But, if you're more specific, all right, I need to plan a coach up call, and then go underneath it and say, I need to make the event header, and I need to set up the event with the time on Facebook, and I need to invite this many people, and I need to make a social media post that's tailored to announcing my coach up. Like, if you can break it down into those smaller tasks, it's much less overwhelming. I don't know about you, but I get a humongous sense of accomplishment when I check something off the list. So it's more things to check off the list so that you really feel like you're in, and it just kind of breaks it up into the little things. And so you can keep the things at the top of the list that need immediate action and that are, high impact, and then kind of go down from there in order of importance. And it's okay if you do a brain dump. Like, I actually have a note in my notes app on my phone called Brain Dump. And anytime I think of something that I need to do or that I want to do, I put it in there. And then from that, I can go back and look at that and make my list for the day. Like, okay, here's my top 3 action items that I'm going to deal with today. And then make a detailed list from there. And then if you skip something 3 days in a row, delete it from the list, because it's clearly not going to get done. It's clearly not something that's super important. And that works. I mean, that works with not only business, but life, because I had to do that a lot when I was working full time. And I would want to little dumb stuff like, I really need to scrub the baseboards in my upstairs hallway, and then it would get skipped for like 4 days, and I would end up feeling horrible because I'm like, God, why can't I get all this stuff checked off my list? But who sees the upstairs hallway besides me and John? Like, nobody. So it's whatever, so that having those little extra things were just weighing me down. So if you skip something more than 3 days, it's probably not that important. You can go ahead and mark it off, or put it on another list of like in the future or something like that, if that makes you feel better, if you don't want to. But keeping these lists will help keep you organized and help you focus on, because a lot of times we get, especially with our businesses, we get this, like, I was talking to Stacy about shiny object syndrome, where you see like, oh, I should do this. Oh, I should do this. Oh, I should do this. Like, I should blog post. I should Instagram. I should, do a Facebook story. I should do Snapchat, like whatever. And there's just so much. And then you're like, oh, so much of it. And you just don't do any of it because you get too overwhelmed. So really, really taking the time to focus on the tasks that are concrete and will move your business forward will help with some of that overwhelm as well. And then you're not being stretched too thin and getting frustrated and giving up. So definitely, I can't recommend the list highly enough. And then that's something that I check every morning just to kind of figure out where my day is going to go and what I'm going to focus on that day. So helpful with all the overwhelm. Okay. And number 7, ignore email and or social media and or any kind of electronic in the morning. So, I don't know about you guys, but I used to be really, really bad about, I used to use my phone as my alarm, and I would keep it beside the bed. And as soon as it would go off, on the main screen, it would show all the emails that I got through the night or all the notifications that I got from Facebook. And so I'd open it up, and before I even got out of bed, I would scroll through Facebook and see who liked my post and who posted what, and go through all my emails and stuff. And those were the days that my attitude sucked all day, because, social media can be kind of detrimental to our mental states, because you're always seeing people's highlight reels. I mean, it's very rare that people are absolutely real, or if they are absolutely real, it's like they are airing the dirty laundry that no one should ever know about. And you're like, oh my God, why would you share that in a public venue? Or they're like complaining all the time. Yes, I've been seeing a lot of that lately. So starting your day with that, then you're kind of like, ugh, because you've started your day with this, this negativity and like competition. Sometimes, you see all these people's happy lives and you're like, oh God, you fall into the comparison trap of like, why can't my life be like that? And why can't I do these things? Mm-hmm. So ignoring that as long as possible. So like my Facebook app and my Instagram app and my Messenger app, I don't have the notifications turned on for those. I have to physically open the app to see what the activity has been, because when that little red circle pops up, what do you want to do? You want to click on it and see it right away, right? instant gratification, which is a big issue in our society because everybody wants everything now, now, now. And as we know, all the good things in life are worth waiting for, you know, whether it's a health and fitness journey. You're not going to lose 20 pounds overnight. You didn't put it on overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight. Mm-hmm. So you don't get that instant gratification. So you know, a lot of times you give up or you get discouraged. Same thing with dating and relationships. The good ones are worth waiting for. I promise you, you know, they're the ones that, you know, the best relationships are the ones that kind of come after like a period of tumultuous ridiculousness. And then you're like, man, it was so worth waiting this long. So talking to you, Amy. Just kidding, girlfriend. He's out there somewhere. I promise you. But seriously. So if you start your day with comparison and negativity and instant gratification, then all day long, that's what your mind is going to focus on. Comparison, negativity, instant gratification. And none of those are good for you. Those are not worthwhile things, because if you don't see that Facebook notification for an hour or two, is the world in any way going to end? Is it, you know, is your life going to be drastically changed? Probably not, because the stuff people are posting on Facebook, it's really not that important, you know? So same thing with emails that are, you know, full of consumer driven sort of things. And then all day you're like worried about, you know, why can't I have that? Or oh, I should really answer that email. And so by ignoring your email, especially like not answering emails right away, because when you answer an email right away, that sort of projects out into the universe that other people know better what you need to do with your time than you. You are the master of your time. You're the one that decides what's worthy of your time and what isn't, and what's worthy of your energy and your emotion and your happiness. So starting the day off by filling your cup first with all of these things, with getting enough sleep and getting your workout in and taking a few minutes to just sort of calm your mind and then edify it with, you know, personal development and something strengthening and something uplifting, and getting yourself organized by like making a list of what you're going to do that day, then you're already in a good headspace, so that when the rest of the crap hits the fan the rest of the day, you're not already so like wired up and like hyped up that it's going to seem like huge, you know, because you're going to be like, okay, that's all right. I can deal with this, because 5 years from now, is this going to affect me? Probably not. 6 months from now, is this going to affect me? Probably not, you know, because you've got a plan in place and you know where you're going, and you know, just feel better all the way around. So anyway, I highly, highly, highly recommend figuring out a morning routine. You don't have to necessarily follow right along with mine, but the simple habit, you know, we're creatures of habit as human beings. We, as much as we say we hate the routine, your whole life feels like it's a mess when you don't have a routine down and you're constantly doing stuff different. You know what I mean? So even having this little routine to start your day the right way every day will make such a huge difference in your business, in your personal life, in your relationships, and in everything that you're trying to work hard and achieve. So let me get you guys idea on this. I am thinking about, as a free challenge next month, doing like a miracle morning group. Something to do probably with Shift Shop, where we've been talking about making a shift, because shift sort of implies that you're not jumping, you know, that there's like, it's a gradual sort of change. So if you guys would want to get in on that, and if you want to, you know, invite people, we can all do like a joint challenge group or something, and just about like, you know, crushing the rush or something like that, figuring out how to do these little things. And we'll make it, you know, people can buy the Miracle Morning if they want. You can get it on Amazon like super cheap. You can probably get it from your, my library has several copies as well. So, you know, having people, you know, no requirement for the group other than reading the book together, and we can just share our insights and stuff like that. So you guys think on that and let me know what you think. And then we can always mastermind on some challenge group ideas for that going forward. But yeah, any questions, comments, other things? Okay, awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate you guys showing up. I'm so excited. Summit, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing. And I really, really hope that you guys can be there with me next year because it's going to be so amazing to represent. And I just can't even, like, everyone that I've talked to, everyone that's posting is like, this is what changed my business. Like, this changed my life by going here, because it sort of really solidifies, like, who you are as a business owner and what you're doing and how you want to proceed. And I mean, you have tips and tools right at your fingertips from some of the best in the world. So it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited to get a bunch of stuff to come home and share with you guys so that we can really, like, take off and make this thing grow. So anyway, I'll be checking in with you guys. If you have questions or anything, you know, feel free to message me. Most of the conference things are like from 9 to 5. And then we have like a 2-hour lunch break in the middle. So if you have questions or, you know, issues or emergencies or whatever, just shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I am done with the session for the day. So otherwise, I will talk to you girls next week for next week's team call. All right. Have a good night. See you guys later.